Dr. David Klee has over 30 years experience as both a teacher of the flute and as a professional musician. He has performed in all kinds of musical organizations, ranging from classical orchestras to heading his own jazz group, the Jazz Express. With these Pro Minute video series, Dr. Klee will share some of his secrets with you on how to become a better flutist. Hello, my name is Dr. David Klee, and welcome to another Pro Minute video. Today we're going to look at the Serenade by Victor Herbert, and this can be found in the Concert and Contest Collection for Flute, published by Rubank. So it should be coming up on your screen. It's marked Andantino Gracioso, so it's not too fast. Da da ya ba 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 bi da da ba da da dee da, something like that, and that'll work well. The important thing here that usually kills a lot of young flutists when they perform this for competition, it's the articulation. They don't follow the articulation. So if we look at measure 3, what do we have? We have a staccato note, and then we have a tenuto marking. So that means I would give a space, but not much. Ta, ta, ya. Okay, and that would slur right up to the A. And then another thing about articulation, if you look at measure 4, you've got 2/16 note staccatos. Because of that G staccato, I like to make that A a lut. Ta la, ta ta ta, ta la. So that's how I would play it. Alrighty, so I'm going ta, ta, la, ta, ka, ta, la, da, 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 ta, ta, la, ta, ka, ta. I do that, okay? Now, when we get to measure 9, we have 60, ya, ba, da, 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 dee, da, 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 da. So measure 9. Alrighty, now measure 10. Okay, now a couple things here. First of all, measure 10. Be careful of that E sharp at the end of the measure. And then also polka retard, so it slows down because we're getting back to the odd tempo in measure 11. So you really want to over-dramatize that. Now, one thing you could do here on measure 10 to make this a little easier. Measure 10, you got to go E, F sharp, E. Okay? So you could do third finger F sharp. Or you could do second finger F sharp. Do you remember? Okay. Traditionally, this is what is called your primary F sharp finger. But you also have that one. Thing is, it don't sound as good. So whenever possible, you always want to use your third finger F sharp, because it sounds better. I'll show you. It just don't sound as good. But there are situations like measure 10, you got to go E. Then if you go to F sharp, then you go back to E. That can get a little clunky. But what if you do E, F sharp, E? Just using your second finger F sharp. All of a sudden, it's a whole lot easier. Okay, so then measure 11, 12, 13, that should look 14, very familiar. Very familiar, same thing. But now there's a twist. Measure 13, if you look at the 16th note, C sharp, you got a little squiggly line over that. That means you're going to trill it one time. You're thinking, ooh, that's getting a little hairy now. Well, there's an easy way to do it. C sharp is nothing down. So, but to trill it, what are you going to trill to? Well, you always trill up. It's a two-step process. You always trill up to the next letter name. What's the next letter name from C sharp? D. Okay, then you look at the key signature. Are they D sharps, D flats? No. So it's just C sharp to D. Now the last thing you have to do, okay, what do I wiggle on my flute? Well, fortunately, this is easy. You just use your first trill key. So if I do it slow, okay, so now what I'll do, I'll start at measure 11 and I'll do all that. That's a little squirrely, I know. So it's like 1 and da 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 dee da. 1 dee da 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 dee. That's why you only trill it one time. Okay? You only trill it one time. Now, measure 15. Then we have a hold. And you don't want to hold it too long. This is where you'll lead your pianist. And so ya da ga da 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 ga da da ga da. Back to getting back to tempo. Now, what I would do here is this. I'm looking at deciphering all this. So measure 16, you have a polka retard up through the retard. And then the polka retard is good through measure 17. And then finally, measure 18, we're back to tempo. So technically speaking, oh, one last thing I would always do. Okay, so the last half a beat on measure 16, you got that D hold. You hold on a high D. Then it's tied over to another eighth note. You don't play that. You don't play that second eighth note. That's your breath. So if I do 15, it'd be like da, da, ya, da, ga, da, da, breath, ya, ga, da, 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 da. That's how I would play it. So now I'll do it. Okay, now one last thing before I play it. Measure 17, if you look at the 16th notes, what do you have? You have staccato 16th with a slur over it. So commonly, what I would do is you lightly tongue it, da da da, dee da da. That's what I would do, da da da, da da da. Just very lightly tongue that. So now I'm going to start on measure 15. Alrighty? Now, what happens at measure 19? Measure 19, we have key change. Now all of a sudden we're in B-flat concert. Same style. Okay, so what did I just do? So it's the same style at 19. Da, da, dee, da, 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 dee, da, 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 da. Then 23. Da, da, ya, da, 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 dee. And then finally at 25, you have a high G. But then we go into 26. Two things are happening. It says diminish. So we're going to get softer. And then right at the end of measure 16, we have a retard. That means we're going to get slower. And what is happening, we're getting in, setting up to get back to tempo at 27. So if I look at 23, I'll see if I can play all that. And I would do that. Alrighty? So now at 27, it's fortissimo. This might be the loudest part of the song. And it's fortissimo. It means very loud. So here you just want to open up your teeth and just sing here. Alrighty? So what am I doing there? 27, 28, it's just like that other part. Ya, da, ya, da, 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 dee, da, da. Now, 31, we're getting into the middle range embouchure. And now 32, we're definitely into the middle to the low range embouchure. So at 32. Now, typically what happens with young flute players, they'll keep their middle range embouchure. When they go down, they sound like this. They sort of fade out down at that lowest range. So I'm thinking middle I'm thinking middle to low, middle to low, middle to low. So I'm doing do-ka-do-ka-do-ka-do-ka-do, do-ka-do-ka-do-ka-do-ka-do. I'm changing like that. So I'll demonstrate again at 32. And by the time I'm Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh. I'm up to that third octave embouchure. Okay, so now 35. Yeah, da 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 dee da 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 da. Same thing. I'm up in third octave embouchure, Winnie Pooh, and by the time I get down to that low G, I'm like this. I have my teeth open. I got my lips pulled back. I'm changing my air angle. And because of that, I have all kind of power. If I don't change my embouchure, but if I keep the middle range embouchure, that's what it sounds like. Boy, when I judge solo ensemble, I hear that a lot. Now, so then, measure 37, guess what? Same thing. Okay, same thing. Third octave to first octave. Third octave, work my way down to first octave. Okay? Now, 38. Here's a real sour note on a flute. C sharp. That is very sour. I don't care if you have the most expensive flute in the world, totally handmade flute. That's what I have right here. Or a student line flute. That C sharp is very sharp. And if you don't do something to get the pitch down, you play in a performance, you'll knock your whole audience over with it. It'll be so sharp. And of course, the judge will have a heyday sitting there marking it up, the judge's score, and like, oh, you're so sharp on that note. Well, you don't want to do that. There's a couple fixes. An easy fix for that is the one I'm going to show you. It's very, very easy. Okay, you probably notice if I have the right hand down or not, there's no difference in pitch. There is a little difference in quality, isn't there? But if you look at a tuner, if I do open and then close, open, then close, and I got all three fingers down in the right hand, the tuner will go da, da. It'll go down about 30 to 50 cents on a tuner. And that may be enough to ensure you get a superior rating when you perform this. So I'm going to show you. I just have that because I'm already playing a D right before it. I already have a D coming out, right? Then I just raise the left hand. D, C sharp, D, C sharp. I'll do it again. What a difference, okay? Now, 39, you notice it says piano, poco, so we're getting softer, and it says retard. So 39 and 40, we're slowing down before we get to 41, which is back to tempo. So I'll start at 37. Alrighty, now 43. Then you're thinking, oh yucky, look at those accidentals. And I'm gonna not lie to you. Yeah, I know they're hard. What you do, everything has to go by repetition. The key to success as a musician is repetition. You ever notice people who study the night before an exam but never study any other time? They're going to take the exam, their mind's totally blank. There's a reason for it. You have to do the same thing on a repetitive program over several days to remember, because it has to go from short-term to long-term memory. If you don't do it on D-Day, you crash and burn. So it's the same with performing. If you don't practice it over several days, same exact measure, same exact everything, you never get beyond the short-term memory. And then when it happens in a live performance, you crash and burn. So what I do here, measures 43, 44, and 45, I would practice those every day, nice and slow, like this. what your goal is you want to have it semi-memorized, okay? There's a reason for this. Right now, your eyes are having to look at every single note as you play. Then the eyes have to go to the brain, and the brain has to tell the fingers which one to move to play the music. There's something called a delay. You're going to delay. You're going to have issues. So what happens, I would also practice like measure 43. I would look at it several times. Then I close my eyes and try it. Well, you're going to have a boo-boo or two. That's okay. Open your eyes, try it again. Several times. Then try it with your eyes closed. And then go to measure 44. Do the same process. And then eventually measure 45. Same process. And then get bold. Try measures 43 through 45 memorized. Well, you're going to have more boo-boos. Open them up. Open your eyes up. Practice it a few times. Close your eyes and try it. By the end of the rehearsal of your practice session, you probably can play that from memory. Now, here's the neat part. The next day you try it, you're going to have a 50% error. You're going to go, what happened to my brain? Well, it never made it out of short-term memory. So what you do the same exact thing, okay? You take that one measure several times, try it with your eyes closed. Same measure several times with your eyes closed. Eventually, all three measures. You do this over several days. What will happen after 3 to 5 days, one day you're going to go, I did it. Yes, because it made it from short-term memory to long-term memory. Alrighty? Now, here we are at 46. 46, we're going back to the original key, which is D major. Now, Mr. Herbert played a fast one on you here at 46. He's got the same melody you have at measure 3, except he kicked it up an octave. You're thinking, oh my goodness. And to make matters worse, what is a dynamic marking? Pianissimo. Heavens. So, a good way to practice this, just practice that F sharp. Just practice the F sharp. What I'm after, you want instant response. A lot of young students, like I hear, row, row. Well, there's issues. The issues are, number one, they don't have the correct embouchure. They have their teeth close together. So what you want to do is open your teeth. You should be able to just sing it softly. Like that. Alrighty? So then we got the articulation is the same. Everything is the same. Okay, so that gets us that far. Alrighty? So that's the same thing as the first, except it's an octave higher. Okay, so at 53, you have a retard. We're getting slower again, going back to tempo. When we get to 54. Now, if you notice 54, 55, 56, 57, that should look very similar. It's just like the beginning. Okay? Alrighty, so at 59, we got a retard again, and we get softer on the hold. Measure 60, you don't play the downbeat, that's your breath. Da, breath. Ya, ta, 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 and you can lightly tongue those 16th notes. Okay, now, at 62, we're getting softer. It says diminish. So, at 62, we're getting softer. And then at 64, we're even softer. Now, here's a real dichotomy. Well, you're supposed to get softer, but a lot of young flute players, they get so soft down there using the middle range embouchure, you don't even hear them. So I'm using my first octave embouchure and pull back. I got my teeth open. Even though I'm soft, I can still be heard. I still have quality. Alrighty, so now Q-moso at 66, you could move it a little bit. Yabba da 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 dee da 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 dee. And then I would slow it back down a little bit right before the high D half notes. Now the half notes are real killer because you just played 2 or 3 measures and then all of a sudden you got to hold that out. What I would do is this. So 44, 64, you have da, da, ya, da, 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 breath. I would take a breath there, right before those 16th notes. And you want to make sure on that end, you don't go da, da with your throat. Just let it da. And always support with the diaphragm, not the chest. Always the diaphragm. Alrighty. This is a great little piece of music. It's not for the faint of heart. It's got quite a bit of technical facility requirements of the young student, but it's a lot of fun to play. It really is a lot of fun to play. So I think you'll do well. Please keep me informed how you do at Solo Ensemble. I would like to hear from you. And until next time, this is Dr. David Klee, and we'll talk to you later. Have a great one. Bye-bye.